Hello. Today is July 21st, 2018. I'm meeting today with Mr. Lester Satchell in Russell, Kansas to talk about his military experience. My name is Brad Hoops. I'm with Remember and Honor. Thank you, Lester, for sitting down today to tell your story. Let's start out, if we could. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your date of birth, where you were born, a little bit about your family.
I was born in Wichita, Kansas on January 27th, 1947. My family moved, my mother moved us here to Russell because our parents were in the Bunker Hill rural area. So Bunker Hill's my home.
Bunker Hill? Okay. All right. And any brothers and sisters?
My sister is, my half-sister is alive. Brought me here, Becky.
Okay.
My stepbrother is in Bunker Hill.
And where do you fit in that order? You're the oldest?
I'm the youngest.
The youngest, okay.
With Becky being just 5 years younger than I am.
Okay. And then you grew up and went through the school system there in Bunker Hill?
In Bunker Hill, yes. From first grade through high school.
Okay.
Graduated high school in 1965.
And then what did you do after you...
My most memorable high school experience was a broken leg.
A broken leg?
Football.
Oh, right, okay.
Tib fib shattered.
Oh, wow.
And if that was enough, the following summer I broke my leg again.
Oh, is that right?
So it was a long summer.
The same leg?
Same leg.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And then what did you do after you graduated from high school?
After I graduated from high school, I had enough money from me and my parents to attend 1 year of college at Fort Hays.
Okay.
And then realizing I couldn't stick it out there with not enough money, I talked about it with my soon-to-be wife and decided that joining rather than being drafted was the best way to go.
To enlist?
So I enlisted for 4 years in the Marine Corps.
Well, now, out of all the service branches, why did you choose the Marine Corps?
Because I thought the Marine Corps offered the best chances of coming home alive.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Little did I know.
Yeah, right. So, went off to boot camp in California?
San Diego?
Yeah. And how was that? How was that transition going from civilian life into military life? Not only military life, but probably the toughest military life. What was boot camp like? And
not only that, it was the toughest civilian life. Going from civilian life of a town of 300 people
right.
to San Diego was
Oh, right, sure.
quite a surprise.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah.
But military life was structured, very structured.
Well, I understand that the Marine boot camp is one of the toughest. Going through that was how was that for you?
Well, considering I was getting over a broken
Oh, right.
leg, I made it. I was bound and determined to make it, but I made it through. And yes, it was a tough thing to do, but I made it. I'm here. It's proof.
Yeah, right. And then, so you finished boot camp, and take your story from there. Where did you go on for additional training or head over to country? Or
From boot camp, I went back to Memphis, Tennessee. Millington, Tennessee, actually, where the Naval Air Station, to go to, I qualified for extra schooling. So I wasn't a grunt.
what schooling was that for?
Avionics,
Oh,
aviation technician for the F4.
and that was by choice, or just because you tested out into that and they sent you there, or did you have any say into going there?
I got it in writing from the guy who enrolls you.
The recruiter?
Recruiter, that's it,
Yeah.
thank you. I got it from my recruiter on good faith that I could pass the initial testing to qualify for schooling.
Okay.
So after boot camp, we took our boot camp leave and packed up and went to Millington.
Were you able to stop home on the way there?
Yeah. Before I left for boot camp, August the 6th, 1966, I got married.
Oh, wow.
And then September 6th, 1966, I went to boot camp.
Wow.
Yeah, no, boot camp was not anything to write home about.
Well, it seems like every Marine I've ever interviewed said that they basically break you down to a puddle of clay and build you back up. And
They do.
yeah.
You either follow directions, follow orders, or you wind up in a dusty trail.
Wow. So in avionics school, what was your specialty there? What were you training for?
Training to be a technician for any part of anything to get me out of grunt
Yeah, right.
duty. I qualified for IFF.
What's IFF stand for?
Well, it's even used on current. As far as I know, it's still used. It's identify friend or foe. So when a plane is approaching,
Oh, okay.
it's got that specific blip for the tower.
Oh, okay. So such thing as like the MiGs and what have you, to the North Korean and Russian airplanes, and
No, it identifies what kind of airplane,
uh-huh.
or whether it's a friend.
Yeah, okay. And then you finished that schooling, and where'd you go there from there?
After I finished Millington, I went to, went to El Toro, well, took leave. That was 7, 8 months in Millington. Went to El Toro
Oh, okay.
when El Toro was still there in Southern California.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, did your wife follow you to your various schools, or did she stay back here at home, or?
Well, my wife packed up the Corvair and drove to Millington. We rented a little, I don't know, 16-foot travel trailer
Uh-huh.
so we could be together.
Uh-huh.
And then we drove back to Kansas. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that in years.
Hmm.
we drove back to Kansas and waited for orders, which left me, and then back from Kansas to my duty station at El Toro.
Okay.
Now, El Toro was where VFMA 232 was stationed. And I was appointed to HAMS 33, Headquarters and Maintenance Squadron. So at that time, from Millington, from here actually, we drove to to El Toro. And I spent the next, until February 1969, when we got orders to Vietnam. I forgot. Actually, I didn't forget. I just went past it. My daughter was born in December of 1968.
Oh, wow.
Before my stepfather got a chance to meet her, see her. He died in January 1969. So I was under double punch
Yeah, right.
to go to. As soon as I got back to El Toro after a 30-day survivor leave, I had to pack up and head for Vietnam.
Wow. That had to be tough to leave after losing your father, and then to leave a wife and a newborn to go overseas.
Yeah, the part that bothered me the most was leaving my wife alone
Yeah.
with
Oh, boy.
nobody out here. One guy that we went to boot camp with, not boot camp, training, avionics training, Steven. Was supposed to stay back and help take care of the wife, but he got orders too.
Well.
So it happens.
Yeah, yeah. So did you guys fly over to Vietnam or take a ship, or how'd you get over to Vietnam?
We flew
Okay.
from El Toro to Guam,
Uh-huh.
Hawaii, and then on to Chu Lai, South Vietnam.
And what's a person thinking on those flights? You know, you're sitting there, you got time to think about a lot of downtime, and you're thinking. I mean, what's a person think? You know, you're flying into harm's way. Did you remember that flight going into Vietnam at all, or?
I remember thinking, my God, what have I done?
Oh, jeez.
Because my wife, God bless her, had to stay home and take care of the baby.
Oh, boy.
We lived in an apartment. And she decided to stay out here instead of going back home.
Is that right? Oh, boy.
So yeah, I remember thinking, what in hell have I done now?
Wow. And where'd you guys land? Da Nang?
And we landed in Chu Lai.
Oh, okay.
Chu Lai had the biggest, longest airport in the Orient.
Oh, wow.
I know that's not politically correct anymore, but what else? She stayed in apartments in Santa Ana. And then when I got back from Vietnam, which is where Agent Orange came in.
Right. Well, now,
Yes.
a Marine, when you did a tour, Marine tours were longer than the other service branches. Was it an 18-month tour, or how long were you over in country?
Well, I was in country probably 6 or 7 months
Oh, okay.
because we couldn't support the F-4, the Phantom. Biggest, baddest jet aircraft in the world. Held several records of ability to climb. And the way it was used as a fighter, as a reconnaissance.
And you said you couldn't support it. What did you mean by that?
Well, to back up just a bit, the Chu Lai had the longest airport in Southeast Asia.
Uh-huh.
So it was used by a lot of traffic, Air Force,
Okay.
Army, whatever.
So it was a joint base with everybody then.
Yes. And I don't know it for a fact, but I know I'm a pretty good guess that the drums that we used to sit on and play pinochle and hearts, and we put a piece of plywood down and set up on the barrels of Agent Orange. I know that's what it was.
Oh boy.
And you know, just contact with that is enough to make things go wrong.
Yeah.
Well, things are going wrong now. Anyway, we couldn't support the F-4, or at least that's what I heard. And we packed up and went back. The squadron VFMA 232. Went to Iwakuni, Japan, and they flew sorties out of Iwakuni. And sorties.
They would fly sorties from Japan down to Vietnam, or just sorties in the area of?
From South Vietnam to Japan.
Oh wow.
I mean, this is as far as I know.
Yeah, sure.
Claim to know all the rest of that. But I guess, I mean, what I had heard was that the sand and the humidity and all the stuff was not too good for the F-4.
Oh, okay. I see. And how was that for you? I mean, once again, here's this Kansas boy going overseas to this exotic country. How with the weather and such? What was it like for you to be in Vietnam?
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of pictures of Vietnam. My daughter's got them.
Uh-huh.
But it was lonely.
Yeah, I'll bet. What was life like on the base? As far as living conditions, the food. Sounds like you played a lot of cards when you weren't on, or what else you would do when you weren't on duty.
We played a lot of cards. went to the club, enlisted club. Something else I hadn't thought about in years.
Yeah. Would you guys ever go off base, or was that something that?
No, we went off base to review, not review, inspect.
Uh-huh.
Inspect and look over the perimeter.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But as a technician, I guess, you weren't really included in that stuff.
Sure.
I did get included once, just to see what it was like out there.
Uh-huh.
Hot, humid, and don't want to go again.
Yeah, right. Sure. So you didn't have much interaction with the local Vietnamese civilians?
No, I did not.
Yeah. Mm.
Matter of fact, even instead of pulling guard duty, I pulled KP,
Oh, okay.
scullery. Everybody's got their turn. Anyway, we packed up and went to Iwakuni.
And I've got to assume conditions are much better there.
Oh, conditions were much better.
Yeah.
A lot of temptations.
Mm.
Anyway, here I am at E3.
How long then were you in Japan before you came back to the States?
Came back from Japan. From Japan, I flew into Okinawa. And then they transferred us to our ride home, which in this case was El Toro again.
You remember that reunion with your wife and daughter when you got home?
Yes. I was a complete stranger to my daughter.
Yeah, I'll bet.
No
Yeah.
memory whatsoever.
Yeah.
But she liked my sparkly wristwatch. To more cheerful space. So she took one of the neighbors at the apartment complex. So there was him, my wife, Renee, my daughter, Steve, Robert, all in a Dodge Dart, 1965 Dodge Dart. Here comes the Ford V8, huh? Anyway, I got finally checked into El Toro. And what was I going to say? Oh, I spent the next couple of months in El Toro waiting to get out. I was discharged in May of 1970.
You had no desire to make it a career? You were done with your enlistment?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
But I would have been better off if I had, because 1970 was the time of market crash, inflation,
All right.
and no jobs. And
Did you guys come back to Kansas after you discharged, or did you stay out in California?
we stayed in California.
Oh, okay.
The apartments we stayed at, we started what do you call it when you take care of apartments?
Oh, kind of an apartment maintenance manager type?
Yeah, we managed 40 units for.
Oh, boy.
And I went to went back to college on the GI
Oh, good.
for as long as that lasted. And then we bought our first house. Bought a barn. My God, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, not very glamorous, but there it is.
No, that's. And what did you go on to do then, as far as a career, your post-military years?
Well, I finally got a job with Gray Bar Electric, which was a wholesale
Electronics.
electric supplier.
Uh-huh.
I worked for them for 7 years, I think. In the meantime, I had applied to all these places. The biggest regret I have is not using one of those return cards to go to the fire department.
Oh.
Anyway, that's all water under the bridge. I went to Gray Bar, and from there I went to another distributor. And then another, and ended up scraping enough cash together to buy into a partnership with 3 of us. Open our own electrical wholesale supply, American Electric Supply.
Uh-huh.
And I like to work myself to death. Doctor said either you slow down or stop this or you're going to die.
Oh, boy.
So I sold out my part of the business, went back to school in 1990.
Huh.
2 years later, I finally got my Bachelor of Arts degree.
Yeah.
Graduated from high school in 1965.
Wow.
And it took 30 years.
Almost 25 years, yeah.
And that was it. I was getting to be an old man to become a teacher, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And one of the teachers, one of the college professors, asked me, "Why the hell are you wanting to become a teacher at this stage in your life?" Well, doctor, I thought it was something if I could impart some of my wisdom, some of my skill, experience, some of these kids would be worth it to me. So I finally got a job with the school district. I taught there for 15 years.
Is that right? Wow.
Special ed.
Special ed?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And when I got to a point where I couldn't hear anymore, you're well enough to teach, I retired.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2010.
Okay.
And that's about where I am now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, did you guys you taught out in California, or did you teach here, or how'd you get back to Kansas? And when did you come back to Kansas?
I taught in California,
Okay.
Fontana. You ever heard of Fontana?
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles started there.
Oh, is that right?
I taught in Fontana for 15 years, like I say, at the same church, at the same school. And when I retired, I had friends close. I was starting to have symptoms of this crap already back in 2010. And I ignored it, and they told me I'd better go see the Veterans Administration. I said, why? As it turns out, I'm still asking why.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So that's about where I am.
Yeah. And right now, you've been diagnosed with Parkinson's, I understand. And
Yes, that's right.
yeah.
Diagnosed with Parkinson's, which is a whole other experience altogether, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I'll bet.
What else do you want to know?
And we'll just finish up. Talk a little bit about family. You mentioned you just got the one daughter.
I have one daughter,
Okay.
and I've neglected to stay on top of that like I should. She's got a house in Wichita. I need to make an appointment to go see her.
Yeah. Any grandchildren?
No,
No.
she told me that the experiences she had was enough for her. She didn't want children exposed to it either. So, my mother, 93 years old, God bless her,
Yeah.
and my daughter, my sister, my sister and my mother lived together. Convinced me I had no other way to live alone with advancing, debilitating
Mm-hmm.
Parkinson's. So I sold what I could, packed up the rest, and moved back to Canada, back to Russell, from whence it all started. And that's just about all there is for me.
Okay. Well, I know we only probably got a tip of the iceberg of your story, but is there anything I didn't ask you, or any of the stories, anything else you want to talk about in regards to this interview, so that ideally we round out your story as best we can, or do you think we pretty much caught the gist of your story?
I think we've pretty well caught the gist of it.
Yeah.
It's not very glamorous, as I
Yeah,
say.
but still an amazing story.
And, the highs and lows regarding being taken apart, being the family unit being taken apart.
Yeah.
My ex-wife is dead now.
Hmm.
My father's dead. My stepdad's dead.
Yeah. Well, you certainly paid or are paying a sacrifice for your military service from what you mentioned with family and with all your health issues. It's a hell of a sacrifice you made for our country.
That's one of the disappointing things. I've always been healthy enough to soldier on, so to speak.
Yeah,
And now this thing slaps me in the face.
yeah, yeah.
And I just know if this message gets out there in some way,
Yeah.
I just know that there are other guys going through the same kind of shit I am. If there are any other vets out there with the same kind of conditions, please go see somebody.
Yeah.
Even if it's just to be alone.
Well, Lester, I want to thank you for sitting down to tell your story today, but more importantly, I want to thank you for your service and sacrifice to our country.